Hi everyone, Peter here from Flow High Performance, and in this presentation we'll be covering the development of linear speed and how we can train to improve this quality. First and foremost, we need to establish what linear speed is. Linear speed is simply running linearly, meaning in a straight line, as fast as possible. Speed is required in the track events ranging from the 60-meter sprint to the 10-kilometer endurance race, and all require their own unique quality of speed. The shorter the event is, the faster the athlete needs to travel, while the longer the event is, the slower the speed of running is. However, in this presentation, we'll be covering the development of maximal speed, as seen by track sprinters in the 60 to 200 meter events. Although most of us automatically think of track sprinting when we talk about speed, many other athletes require linear speed for their sport. Athletes playing soccer, American football, Australian rules football, the various codes of rugby, field hockey, and more can all benefit from increasing linear speed. The common argument counter to this is that these athletes only require short bouts of speed and never reach maximum velocity. This is a good point, although it is not entirely true. This study showed that over 13% of sprints in rugby league are 30 meters or longer, and nearly 1/4 of sprints are 20 meters or longer. This is certainly frequently enough to make linear speed a quality that is important to train. Furthermore, linear speed training can improve acceleration performance, which will enhance speed over short distances. So let's have a look at how athletes can run fast in a straight line. First, we have an acceleration component. This is where the athlete is in a stationary position or a slowly moving position, like walking, and the athlete accelerates to reach a greater velocity. To reach a higher velocity, the athlete needs to overcome the inertia of their stationary self, as they currently have very little or no momentum. This acceleration phase is characterized by more of a forward lean of the torso, primarily horizontal force application, and longer ground contact times with each stride. Once the athlete has reached a higher velocity and gained some momentum, continuing to run at a fast pace can be termed the maximal velocity phase. This is where the athlete has essentially reached 90% or more of their maximum possible speed, and they are simply maintaining this velocity until they decide to decelerate and slow down. The maximum velocity phase is characterized by more of an upright torso, a greater proportion of vertical force application, and very short ground contact times with each stride. While these two phases represent the distinctions that are prevalent at the very start of a sprint and when the athlete has reached top speed, in reality, these two distinctions exist on a spectrum. So rather than there being a distinct acceleration phase and a distinct maximum velocity phase, the majority of the sprint duration will be performed between these 2 points. It usually takes an athlete somewhere between 20 to 60 meters to accelerate to maximum speed. Faster athletes will usually require longer distances to accelerate maximally, simply because they can reach higher velocities, while slower athletes may not need as much distance to reach maximum speed, as they cannot reach as high of a threshold. So how is it that we become faster? There are two factors at play here: training and genetics. It's generally accepted that elite sprinters are simply born to be fast. It's almost unheard of for a sprinter to be average as an adolescent and become elite via training alone. Let's take Justin Gatlin's career progression as an example. As an 18-year-old in 2001, he ran 10.36 seconds as his season best in the 100-meter sprint. 15 years later, he ran his personal best time of 9.74 seconds in the same event at 33 years old in 2015. It took 15 years of training for Justin Gatlin to improve his 100-meter sprint time by 0.62 seconds, or 6%. Now, if we theoretically propose that Gatlin could only run the 100-meter sprint in 12 seconds as an 18-year-old, a 6% improvement would mean that he would eventually run the same race in 11.28 seconds, a time not considered elite by any standards. So, for absolute speed potential, genetic factors seem to play a huge role in performance. However, there is always the ability to improve on your current performance. Let's now have a look at what training methods can help us improve our linear speed. Once again, we can break training up into methods which transfer best to acceleration performance and methods that transfer best to maximum speed performance. In terms of acceleration development, there are 3 primary training methods that can be used to enhance performance. These are speed exercises, power exercises, and strength exercises. Speed exercises for acceleration performance would include drills that mimic the positional demands, so sprints which promote a forward lean and a horizontal application of force would be our best choices. For example, low sprint starts, uphill sprints, and resisted sled sprints for distances of 10 to 30 meters would all be good options. Power exercises for acceleration performance would include exercises that allow an explosive extension of the ankle, knee, and hip, and a horizontal application of this force would be even more transferable. These exercises should have some form of external resistance to increase maximum force production. Exercises such as horizontal medicine ball throws, squat jumps, or weighted box jumps would all work well for this purpose. Strength training for acceleration development would include any form of lower body strength exercises. Since maximal strength is fairly non-specific for linear speed, the exact exercises selected probably don't matter to a great extent. If possible, it is probably best to implement exercises which have a horizontal force vector, and other exercises which have a vertical force vector. That way we're covering all our bases. Some good examples would include partial range squats, deadlifts, and hip thrusts. Moving on now to maximal velocity training, we have the same 3 categories of training which can enhance performance. Speed training for maximal velocity development would include exercises which allow the body to travel fast. Distances for this type of training should be slightly longer to allow the athlete to reach the highest speeds possible. So 30 to 60 meters would be an appropriate distance range. Straight sprints, flying sprints, and overspeed sprints are all great drills to implement. Power training for maximal velocity development should consist of exercises with a very fast rate of force development, since ground contact times are so short during this phase of sprinting. Plyometric training would be the best option for power training, consisting of unilateral, bilateral, weighted, unweighted, vertical, and horizontal variations would all work well. And lastly, strength training for maximal velocity development may include the general strength exercises discussed in the acceleration development section, but also some additional exercises specific to maximal velocity sprinting. Research has uncovered that the lower body muscles, particularly the calf muscles, actually contract almost isometrically during each ground contact, while the tendons are the main tissues that stretch and retract. So loaded isometric holds involving the hip, knee, and ankle muscles may have benefits to maximal velocity sprinting. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you got something out of this video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already.